Pricing is the name of the game in real estate, and I'm Dan Gorfinkel with eXp Realty. I'm your pricing professional, and let's get those listings moving. It's really all about pricing in this business, and you can do all the marketing in the world. You can do everything you can to help a seller sell their home, but at the end of the day, it's about pricing the home right. It's about getting competitive offers going, and it's about, springboarding that number up, as I like to say. So a lot of times you'll face off with your seller and they may be interviewing multiple agents and making a decision as to who they're going to list their property with. It's really difficult because you don't want to underprice, because then they're going to think, well, so-and-so thinks he can only get us X dollars for a property, and then another agent thinks they're going to get us way higher. But there's a strategy to all this, because if you price a home significantly higher and the seller latches onto you, then ultimately you're setting them up for failure, because you're doing something that I would think is actually disingenuous by overpricing a property in order to get the listing. It's something where a seller may cling to a glimmer of hope or have hope that they're going to get the highest price possible, and just doing that is picking the agent who gives them the highest number possible. And it's not the case. There's a healthy balance in all of this. I always bring my CPA credentials into the picture, having great numbers background and having something like that helps people realize that I'm very financially focused for them. But when it comes to pricing a home, I would say that, I can go back the past decade and look at my average days on market for properties. It's probably in the range of 10 days for condominiums and give or take 10 days for single family homes, maybe a little bit higher, but definitely within 2 weeks. We all know the market's been hot, but by the same stretch, if I've had hundreds of listings over the past X number of years and I'm getting them sold within a couple of weeks, there's something to be said for that. And it's definitely a strategy that I'm proud of. It's probably one of my best skills out there. When it comes to pricing a home, I just know exactly how to do it. I know when it comes to talking to your sellers, you definitely want to instill confidence that they're not going to be leaving any money on the table, because obviously nobody wants to do that. But the whole fact of the matter is, if you can kind of substantiate the numbers by looking at a trend analysis, and what I mean by that is, let's say that they bought the home, 7 to 10 years ago. If you look at the average and median sale price for that given home in that given town, and you can kind of extrapolate what they had paid for it back in, let's say 2015 as an example, and run it forward 8 years or so, see what the average and median sale prices are now, as well as the list to sale price ratios, all that good stuff, you're going to kind of lend confidence to the situation and have your seller understand that you know exactly where it's going as far as pricing, because you've narrowed it down in terms of what that home is going to sell for in the broader scope of things based on a trend analysis of values. And then you also back it up with current comparable sales. And so most agents are just going to look at what's the most recent sales. Here's what the value is. Let's put it on the market and see where it goes. Of course, you have to have it bolstered with great marketing, which I do. So all that stuff aside, it still comes down to pricing the home accurately. So if I can take current comparable homes, look at the trend analysis since when the date they purchased, and if I can get that razor sharp within the right range of where they need to be from a pricing standpoint, it's a home run, and it's going to ultimately be something that will exceed their expectations. They'll get them a number higher than what they should have gotten from the get-go, because somebody who sees a home that, say, is worth, $700,000-$800,000, and they want to price it at $850,000, then the seller thinks, well, great, we know our home's worth $800,000, but let's price it at $850,000. We've got a little bit of a buffer to come down on price in due course. It's such the wrong way to do things. It's such a way that, as pricing strategies go, it's just setting yourself up for failure. I really believe that. Versus the counterintuition of pricing a home on the cusp of $800,000, call it $795,000 or $799,000, and then the hopes are that you're going to springboard that up to a price that is as high, if not higher, than what it would have been had you priced it at $850,000 and eventually worked your way down. I think it's something that a lot of agents feel that they just need to be on the seller's same side with. And I really buck the trend on this. I really kind of push against my own seller and say, look, this is in your best interest. I know it feels like we may be pricing it light. And then there's also the inherent risk of losing the listing. You have to be careful. Again, it's a delicate balance. If anything, if your seller or prospective seller pushes against where you want to be in terms of price, what you can do is just relay to them that there's a couple week window on any given market that if you're overpriced, you're going to have to come back down to reality within the first 2 weeks, because the reality is a home that sits longer than 6 weeks on the market, especially in a seller's market, is something that's perceived as stigmatized or having issues with it, when we all know in the business it's really more of a pricing problem than the problem with the house itself. But going back to your sellers, if you're putting a home on the market in the high 7s, not only are you hopefully springboarding that up into the 8s, what ends up happening is you kind of write your own ticket, because having 3 to 5 offers, I feel, is the sweet spot for the number of offers where you're getting the healthy competition amongst prospective buyers who are not only giving you the right number, but they're giving you the right terms and conditions. Because I always say to my sellers, it's not just about the number on the page, it's about the right terms and conditions, right? Because if you can't close on the home, the number is just the number. And ultimately, if you have the right terms and conditions, i.e. if somebody's going to waive their home inspection, if they're going to waive their mortgage contingency, or if they're going to close exactly when your client wants to close, I mean, that's an absolute win for them. And if you can help a seller see the light in that, and again, I'm able to leverage my CPA license to do it, but you don't need a CPA license. You just need to know the numbers, and you need to speak clearly and confidently with your seller and give them the right advice, like I'm sure you always do, in order to help them understand that this is the best way to price a property. So, as things go, this is my ultimate as far as ability in the business. I mean, I think that that's something that cannot be stressed quite enough. You have to really underscore that with people. And you also have to convince them that if they're going to consider listing their home with a seller, with an agent who is going to just overprice the home and then inventory that home and work them down over time, it's such the wrong way to do business. It's really not fair to the client. It's really setting up expectations and then just kind of grinding them down. I've never done business that way, and I've always been at or above what the average and median sale price is for a given property. So not only that, I've had sellers say to me, geez, you basically paid for yourself. So whatever the fee that we paid for you, you got a 5 or a 10% bump on what we thought we were going to get anyway on this place. So I'm ultra confident when it comes to pricing properties. Definitely the guy to reach out to. So if you're struggling in the business, if you want to hear more about this from me directly, feel free to put a message in the comments section. But by all means, subscribe to my channel, like this video, do whatever you can to reach out to me. I'm here to help. Dan Gorfinkel with eXp Realty, 617-820-8085. Thanks again.